How was the month, dearest YouTube friends? Today we are in a new video, another one because the monthly supervision one has already gone, but in this case we are facing Alien Workshop, which is from this Darfinis saga. In this case we are going to take the left path as always, first in the bosses, and we leave the last one for the next path. So in this case we see that we have to face the very powerful first. It's not that this character has the following notes, we have to have one of Genesis and confront him with a character. Koda is okay, but it still has the nodes that attackers in the fight have 15% attack power and stopping triggers a passive effect. Therefore, it is going to help us, and you are seeing in Lago Concursala has interception of flow and reflux, that to remove that purple shield that you just saw how we removed, well, we have to be making an intersection and it can be bothering us a lot. Then he also has the thing of now measuring whether seconds the attackers is a disadvantage of faltering that causes him 100% probability of, well, if the attacks fail, it is one. It is a real fight. Somewhat complicated because you are already seeing how the failure timer underneath Kusala's life, well, it is acting, and unless we make very direct contact with the Nova, well, they are going to expose us to this flickering, but we also have to be doing that interception to Nova to be able to hurt her and remove that purple shield as we just saw. And in this case with Kusala, thanks to the spiritual chance of super attack 2 and super attack, well, we're going to be able to do all the damage due to these advantages. How are you seeing on screen? In reality, it is a somewhat curious fight, because it is true that it is somewhat complicated, but if you get the flaking and the interception to work at the same time, it will not do us almost any damage. You have seen that Justo has had super attack 3, and thank goodness he died thanks to that spiritual Zaf and those intimations, because if we hadn't had a very bad time, we would leave with the Bluestone sub. Okay, the defender of the Genesis, therefore we have to hit him with a Kodak attacker, which in this case is Dattler. Okay, and the defender benefits from the advantageous self-lift mastery rank. Therefore, it has the disadvantage of bleeding and poisoning, as you have to start hitting it with an already mutant character, because if it's not going to be causing us degeneration, the defender cannot heal above the amount of life that started the fight, and every time a passive regeneration improvement effect is activated, the defender is not under the effect of joints, he gets a load of latent momentum that is already... Are you seeing how he's healing all the time? Does the Shabloston separately have the law firm in time? When the attacker activates an improvement, this health instantly, and the defender has a regeneration improvement, as you are seeing on the screen. And at the beginning of the fight and after 10 seconds, since a robustness of 25% is obtained on the timer, as you just saw, and that regeneration. But hey, it is actually a very simple fight because she knows this. As always, you have to force her to throw her attack 1 to be able to avoid it perfectly. But you are already seeing that it is super simple. We are going on the road. On the left, we find Prowler, who in this case, we start with a power bar every 10 hits of the middle combo. We suffer from flaky disadvantage, which is why I take the good snake with this one. For that accurate concentration, every time attacker misses, the defender gains 50% power effectiveness. In this case, the key here with snakes is to get sub-attack 1 as fast as possible. To achieve that precise concentration, what it will do is avoid failure. You are already seeing how the failed error appears on the screen, and as always with Prowler, and force her to have sub-attack 1, which is the easiest to avoid. But that's because 2 is also quite simple. Actually, with a snake, the truth is that this fight is quite simple, quite say, as you are already seeing on the screen, that it doesn't cost anything as long as we maintain that accurate concentration to be able to avoid all the damage to our character of the failure is valid. As you are already seeing on the screen, if we couldn't, the fight could be costing us a lot if we don't manage to get a character with accurate concentration. And another character that could work for us, Execrops, what happens is that we would play with a class disadvantage, and you are already seeing it as a problem to come out to perception with a snake. Our next character is with Benefaria. This character can really bother us a lot because of the nodes he has. Since we start with a power bar, as long as the attacker performs the same basic attack. We have disintegration disadvantage. This node has always been involved in alliance wars. Whenever an attacker's disadvantage is polyfied, he receives damage due to degeneration. Therefore, we cannot insert characters that degenerate. I'm already seeing I'm doing it with a snake. And the problem that it also has is the safeguard node that we cannot remove a maximum of 1%. Therefore, here the burst damage of, in this case of a snake, may be serving us a lot. This character, sorry, this node actually, because he would condemn it, is not difficult. This node is totally disgusting. I don't like the topic of disintegration at all, that we also take away 1% of life. That causes it to generate a lot of accumulation to be able to condemn, as you are already seeing, and not leave us almost a small gap to hit the snake. But hey, it's a very, very slow fight as it is. You can already see what it's like to literally stick and stick and stick, and be very careful with the disadvantages. The disintegration, because if it gives you one or two, nothing happens, but if it gives you several, you can be having a pretty bad time. Therefore, I recommend that you eat them in one blow, medium, weak, medium, along with the relic or with the silver, so that in this way you prevent us from causing these disintegrations, which is what may be failing us in this fight. It's a very, very slow fight, because in the end we took away 1%. I already tell you that I have always hated this node of Alliance Wars. Therefore, you are already seeing that it is simply stick and stick and stick. Well, advance it a little bit for the fight, well, so that the video doesn't become so heavy, because in the end you are already seeing how he has also accused me with Enefaria, and we are at 1% with Serpiente, and even so we have him against the ropes, but I already tell you that he bursts us. I leave the small spoiler that we have the first death in this Onion World Showcase, and it avoids the mistakes that I am making, but we already have it at 25%, or maybe not. I don't remember if he died or not now that I think about it. You are already seeing on the screen that we are just managing to bring it to 15%. I don't know if it just didn't kill him. Well, precisely that. The disintegration, well, by giving him, he already tried. Well, give him as much as possible with this character and already kill him by itself. I already tell you that this node is totally disgusting. I do not recommend it at all. And carrying a good Cocter is key to being able to give this Count Nephalia, because you have already seen how the fight is dragging on. We pushed it a little further, and in this case we had already killed him. Okay, and we're going for Spider Han. In the next attacker we win, we start with a power bar fight. The defense has an increased 100% defensive presentability. When attacker has 3 or more disadvantages, defender turns and block him therefore. Beware of Spider-Jan's own electric stings. Every 10 seconds of attackers is an electric sting handicap for 10 seconds that inflicts 100% of the attack value. The attacker suffers permanently anticulations, therefore we will not be able to heal, but in this case, with a snake, we can evade those of anticulations. And as you are seeing, every time he is going to leave us electric stings disadvantages. When we have 3 disadvantages, Spider-Jan is going to become totally unblockable. In this case, we can try accurate concentration with Snake again, thanks to the one it has, since we are going to avoid failure and illusion. Well, in this case, we don't care about the failure, but what benefits us is the illusion of this Spider Ham, to be able to prevent it from being fought, and in this way, get all the massive damage that this Snake character has. And you've seen how it goes faster. This fight is simpler, and the only thing we have to keep in mind is that we have to intercept to remove those electric stings. Because if they are not going to leave, sorry, no, you don't have to intercept, sorry, they are being removed little by little. And the important thing here is to throw away the super attacks with a snake as you sneak around. Well, what is that? The electrics leave us because if they can't do us enough damage with what you are seeing on the screen, so, well, this fight is quite simple. We are going to advance a little so that you can see the end of the video, as it is also just taking away a little bit of life from us, and we already have it against the ropes, we already have our friend Spider-Man at 1%. We tap and that's it. Our friend Spider-Man would be there. We're going for the next character, Bastion, a complicated character. We start again with a power bar, and in this case it has the incineration switching node with high voltage. In this case we are going to give it as a snake, because let's remember that it is immune to incineration. If I remember correctly, it has resistance, okay? All the disadvantages of block anticulation powers designed are automatically shared with the attack. Sing every 2 seconds. In that, it gains 50% damage due to efficiency, so be very careful because it is going to do us a lot of damage. For disadvantages, you are already seeing how the high voltage is draining us a little of life, but we are healing. Therefore, we have that resistance with a snake that you are already seeing, that the MVP on the left side of this Village War Showcase is a snake. We have, I think, tanked 3 fights or 4 fights with him. And in this case, you are already seeing that with incineration, I am not hitting it at all to prevent incineration from doing us. But with the high voltage, we already take advantage and do that good damage. Apart from that, we take advantage of the fact that we have the class advantage with Bastion, with Snake against Bastion, so it turns out quite simple for us. I also have to tell you here that if for whatever reason you want the Alliance Work Showcase, well, you have my WhatsApp in the description that we are doing it at a quite ridiculous price, quite cheap. Therefore, I recommend that you go to the description in case you don't. Can you pass it on? I do it for an ultra cheap price, okay? So, well, it has already changed again with the high voltage, therefore we are going to hit him with a Snake against Bastion, and we are already there, and you are already seeing how the fight is going and how we are doing it faster. Okay, in this case with Bastion, you always have to force him to have super attack 1, which is something easier to avoid, although I wouldn't tell you, which is totally easy, okay? But I still think it's easier than Super Attack 2, which are more bursts and maybe doing us a little more damage. In Lockdown, I see Super Attack 1, 1, 2, and 3. You just have to go back when you have to pull. We already have the last 60%. In this case, it is glue and glue, glue as long as we have. Below the Bastion Road, that inclination is changed by that high voltage. When it goes to high voltage is when we are going to be hitting it. In this case, it is also a fairly slow fight, which will allow us to develop our Snake friend spectacularly. And you are seeing how we are generating more fury since we have reached 16 charges of Cool Force. And in this case, we do much more damage, as you are already seeing Super Attack 1 again. Look at what strong bursts we do, that critical damage, and I think directly with a Super Attack. And well, we kill him again, and that's it. Have you already seen how it comes out perfectly in this case? Well, we have the next one, which is core, but we are going to explain the core at the end, after the road. And there you are seeing how we ended up with the Cersei, with the tiger itself that we selected in the 7-star character. At that time, with the left path, we would already be having it the first time, and now we would go to the right path, which we already started directly by Gitmonkey and the other 2 fights. We have already explained this at the beginning. Hitmonkey, what do you got? Well, again, we have the Genesis Defender versus Coda character thing. That's why we call Dudler. The attacker does not receive damage from his first 3 hits received, so that will allow us a little survival. Then it also has Ebb and Flow knockdown, as you have already seen that we have knockdown. But then what happens is that Hitmonkey, if you knock him down well, he can go crazy, and he can avoid, in this case, as we have with Daphne the Chase. Well, we are going to avoid that illusion, and apart from that, every 2 seconds, the Fessor gains 25% indefinite precision, defenseless, and without a wall, or between strong attacks. So you are already seeing that we must be pulling Hitmonkey with the strong blow to remove that robustness, and be very careful, because with the strong blows he becomes unstoppable, as has happened to us. That in this case we have been quite lucky, and we have been able to do that damage because the character could have given us. In this case with Dazzler, I think that is the perception. It is that of the best to give him there. You are already seeing how we throw a strong blow. We throw that chase to prevent the UDA, and we throw the super tacky, and see what ultra massive damage our mommy Dazzler has, which for me is one of the best to give him next. We have Null. Well, I haven't said it, but the second team is made up of Satra, Dazzler, Dust, and Kusala. Okay, we have a Null ahead again, Kodak versus Genesis. The Kanti attack takes no damage from other first hits. Attacker starts with a power bar. Defender has a 100% increase in defensive skill accuracy. When the attacker has a disadvantage of 3 or more, the defender or has a passive effect of Fury, increasing their attack power. Therefore, you are already seeing how Null himself leaves us disadvantages of the Abyss, since he already has his Fury improvement. Then also, when the defender activates a super attack, the attacker receives a provocation and physical vulnerability disadvantage. And lastly, every time the attacker reaches a power bar was a taunt disadvantage. You are already seeing how in this case. Back it will be spectacular for us, because it will make your improvements sleepless, and with that damage from Astral Wasps, it is the best to give this Null. Also Kusala works very well, which was my second option in case this Null failed us. You are already seeing how that disadvantage of a physical idea, and that disadvantage, the Null itself of the node itself, puts us. Okay, right there we are throwing away the trophy again so that your advantages last less. And if you can, as always, take the Null to Super Attack 2, which is the easiest to avoid, and Super Attack 1 is going to give us those inverted controls that we do not want at all in the startup way of playing. As always, maintaining the blow strong so that those Astral Wasps can explode and do totally enormous damage. We have that explained in a video of the character. Okay, and ready our Null. Quite simple. We leave with the character that for me is more complicated on the right side, Lumatrix. Thanks to that flaw, it may be bothering us a lot, and once again we have to put a Genesis Defender who is Lumatrix against a Saga attacker, but an attacker Alright, it's Daffler. In this case, the attacker takes no damage from his first 3 hits. The attacker starts the fight with a power bar, and when the defender makes the first attack of any combo, they are immune to stunning. Therefore, it can bother us, and we have to make a double stop to make that stop. Then it also has a very annoying node, as it is a master of mixes that basically, if the attacker repeats the same Cosmos, then he will have a 100% chance of evading the attack. That's why you're seeing how the evaded attack comes out all the time. And that's why Downler works very well for us, since we can put that pursuit to prevent those blows from failing, and then it has the time bomb. That's why you're seeing Underlife. Downler, an orange icon that when the attacker makes a well-timed block, has a detonator charge when the defender's block removes a charge when we give him the block. And when it reaches 7 charges, that deterrent explodes and does us good damage to remove it. Let's remember that we have to block Lu Matrix to remove those loads, as you are seeing right now, and in this case with Dattler, well, it will turn out well, but be very careful with Lu Matrix because it is quite complicated with that failure. Okay, that's why we are looking for that fair pursuit with Dattler to avoid that one. Own damage that Numatris has, and that failed glitch. In this case, we have been able to develop Downler well, and we have taken a lot of life from Numatris, but I already tell you that it is not an easy fight, and Numatris was born to be a great defender, an idol. For me, it is the best idol that Kavan has released at the moment, and well, there is little left. In this case, it becomes unlockable again due to the skills, and in this case, we have the chase, since we have to be taking advantage of it so that we avoid that illusion of the character when we... Let's change our compositions, and you are seeing how it also becomes unlockable, which may be bothering us a little. We still have it at 5%, we are almost finished, but still. So that you can see how annoying the character is, how he is avoiding, how he is hitting us, and how he almost has us against the ropes. In fact, here I threw Super Attack 1 because I thought it was coming, and thank goodness we blocked it to remove a percentage and already blocked it. I already tell you that it is for me the worst fight we have on this straight path. Next character. We have Medusa again. We have Genesis versus Koda. Okay, the Adakan takes no damage on his first 3 hits. On top of that, we start with a power bar, and then he has power inevitable, power effectiveness. Whenever the defender gains an upgrade, he also gets a power charge when reaching 6 cards. It has power efficiency and cannot be nullified or hindered. In this case, we throw a Qs to nullify it and put it on. Disadvantages aside, the defender also has defined protection that reduces all damage received by 50%. This damage goes into cooldown for 15 seconds when the defender is knocked down, therefore we have to return 2. To the character as with Hitmonk, then he also has 100% damage inflicted on the defender while he is stunned, as it is returned to the attacker. Therefore, we cannot use the stop on this staff against this character. Then the defender gets 25% attack for each upgrade on him. In this case, you have seen how I totally screwed up because I have made a very bad stop. It has made us an automatic block, and it has burst us with Super Attack 2. And in this case, you are already seeing the second round that I have been doing with Satra, as you are seeing on screen. What it's going to do with that atrophy is prevent those Fury upgrades from the 3 Fury upgrades because they end faster. Therefore, this way we avoid more chances of that automatic blocking, and apart from the damage of the Astral Wasps, it will help us a lot and will make the fight come out easily. Still, it's a pain in the balls, this jellyfish, but it's not as much as the Spine Matrix we've talked about before. I remind you again that if you want this Alliance Workshop keys, you have my WhatsApp in the description, and with that you have some considerable discounts. We do it at a good price and spend next to nothing. In fact, this is my first pass on my account, and we have literally spent 2 resurrections of what we carry. Okay, ready, Satra? Well, very good with that jellyfish. Now I do. We are going to explain to the core that the core is a somewhat complicated character. What he has is new. He is with Defender Genesis against Koda, and at the beginning of the fight, the attacker wins a regeneration passive. Therefore, you are already seeing it as we enter, and it can help us against the rocky charges of core, that reverberation of damage. I'm taking care of Condust. How are you guys seeing it? Other than that, we took no damage for 3 hits. Attacker starts with a power bar. The written power collection rate increases by 100% and has a change in danger, poisoning, or breakage. In this case, Arena, you already know that it is immune to poisoning, but not to breakage. Therefore, we have to apply the same one as with Snake against Bastion. We have to put it in when it puts the poison disadvantage, as you are seeing on the timer right now, and pause the fight when we are with breakage to prevent it from putting this disadvantage on us. And give us a lot of life against sand. And finally, he has immunity to stun. another disadvantage that may be costing us a lot in the fight. In this case, we are also lucky because with sand, we introduce dust disadvantages. Therefore, Corp has the ability to almost take them away, and in this case, you have already seen how we have missed a blow with that break, and they have put us at that break disadvantage. Bakor, as always, you have to force him to get to super attack 2 so he doesn't shoot him, which is the easiest. Sub attack 1 may be bothering us a little, so to speak. It was also very important here in Contracore, the support of the relic to make that strong blow of sand to be able to develop its full potential and gain those efficiencies. Because let's remember that our friend Kor is immune to stunning, and above all, that damage caused by Agijur, by rocky stones. The reverberation of the damage can bother us a lot. In this case, you have already seen how we have taken it away. We have had a super attack, and still we have not hit him hard because we have to continue loading our loads of dust. Okay, you're seeing it again. We have to get the relic. We are also lucky because we have the node that we gain more speed, the relic, and it works for us to get more damage. You're seeing how I've hit him a couple of blows in breakage and he's doing us. I was doing quite a bit of damage. Sub attack 2 and we almost have cord against the ropes. Be very careful because you don't put the break back in, and as I told you, Subata that 1 is a little complicated to avoid, but it came out perfectly. And finally, we face our friend Cersei, who is the head of this Warshockers Alliance, as you have always seen her. He selects the Tiger because for me, he is the best character to be able to put this Cersei, okay, what's new with the Genesis Defender against Koda, and apart from that, the attacker does not receive damage from the first 3 blows that is not from Cersei. The attacker begins with the fight with the power bar, and when a defender of the Genesis end of Super Take, well, does Defender Simon have any skill requests regarding your bravery? Defender combat reflex rate increases by 50%, and when the defender is hit, gains a passive effect of physical resistance or energy resistance. Therefore, in this case, with Tigra, it is going to be very good for us, especially if you know how to play with her, as is my case, to avoid that blow with the strong blow, that super attack 1 of Cersei that can bother us a lot, and those super attack 2 too, as you are going to see right now. There we have it. We maintained the strong blow. In this case, no, I have not maintained it, but nothing happens, and we have already thrown over attack 1 in this case. Since we have neutralized, well, we are going to prevent Sergi's advantages from being activated, and this way make the fight much easier. There you have it, as we have it with the foul, with which the strong blow has been maintained, and we pull again. We stop that unblockable, and still we pull and do a lot of damage. There you are seeing how with a Tiger you have to know how to handle it. Logically, we do that tremendous and gross damage. Such through breakage disadvantages like what you are seeing. We do it again, keep it with a strong blow to avoid that unlockable also from Cersei, and we do very good damage. For my Tiger, it is the best way to give this being a date. But on the path to the left as on the path to the right, you are already seeing how simple it turns out. Let's see if he throws the super attack 2 at us or if he wants to throw it all at once. There we have it. And in this case, we are doing quite well with the very care there is. Thank goodness the indestructible node that we have from the nodes themselves has entered. If we couldn't have missed a little, we threw super attack 2 with that blockable in. Therefore, we generate more breakage disadvantages and do more damage per burst. We have it again, we throw super attack 1, we maintain the strong blow so that the failure is eliminated, and again throw strong blows. You have seen the brutal damage that Tigra has and how simple it is with her logically knowing how to play, and that's it. This way we would have the Alliance World Showcase. We'd have 100%. Above all, you like the video, and I tell you again that if you need help with this land work shock, you have my WhatsApp in the description to win all those totally suck prizes, and that you shouldn't miss them. So friends, have you always liked the video? Sugi if you are not there, and see you in other videos. Bye bye.